Scanning. Identity authorized. Welcome to the Secret Superhero Club Podcast Network.
Welcome everybody to the Animation Station podcast. My name is Josh, and today I am joined by two very special guests, Julian and Tara from Tonnimated. I was about to say Tonnimated, which is not a word. Tonnimated, the creators of Room of Swords. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing good, thanks, Josh.
Hey, how's it going?
Not bad at all. Okay, so first off, let's kind of, for our listeners, if you guys wouldn't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So, we're a couple of artists. We both come from the video game industry, working mostly out of Seattle. And we both went to DigiPen, actually, in Redmond, Washington, got bachelor's in production animation degrees, and that's how we met. So we've kind of got like this joint love for art and stories and comics and games and all that stuff.
Nice. So, were you guys really big into, comics and, games and animation and everything growing up?
Yeah, basically, I think we both kind of are a bit eclectic, so it's like a little bit of everything, I guess. I'm really into things for stories, so whether it's in a game or a comic or a movie or whatever, it's kind of, as long as it's a good story, I like it. And then I think my husband, he's been really into Dragon Ball, which was a pretty big inspiration for his style in the comic. Then plays a lot of the old classic games like Chrono Trigger and Mega Man and stuff. And I'm talking for him because he's entertaining our baby right now. So.
That's awesome. And you can definitely tell from Room of Swords, there is a little bit of that Dragon Ball-esque type of semblance,
right?
In a couple of the panels and everything.
Yeah, sorry. Akira Toriyama is a very big influence for both of us, especially Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Z, maybe a little bit at the beginning, but Dragon Ball is the part that we are really into it. So you can kind of see that kind of influence in some character designs, I guess, and also maybe personalities in a couple of characters, but Akira Toriyama has been a huge inspiration for us.
Nice. So any other type of anime or anything that you guys kind of draw off of?
Yeah, totally. I think right now we're really big fans of Mob Psycho 100 as the new one, and One Punch Man, and then of course the classic ones more like Dragon Ball, and we both watched Yu Yu Hakusho independently before we met, and and then I've kind of been into random stuff like Bleach, and recently watched My Hero Academia, and just inspiration from anime definitely comes from all over the place.
And then there's also the inspiration that we get from video games, classic ones Mega Man, all the Castlevania kind of stuff. And then there's also Earthbound and Final Fantasy, so a lot of old school and new kind of genre video games. So it's a mix of both.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, is there a game that you we're kind of asked both of you, so this will be for both of you. What's a game that you guys are really drawn to? So something that where if you see it, you want to play it. It doesn't matter what time of day. If you're I want to play this video game. What is your video game?
Oh man,
for me it's Super Metroid. Super Metroid.
That was quick. That was just Super Metroid. Yeah, we know.
Super Metroid. Yes, just the design of that game for me is kind of basically masterclass. There's no tutorial. The tutorial is just the game itself, and it just teaches you everything without saying a word. I think it's just a very, very good game.
Yeah. I think for me, it's really tough because I like them for different reasons, but because there's nostalgic games and stuff, but I think maybe the game that I did not grow up with and yet played more in my adult years, and it really sticks with me, and I can't wait to play it with my son and stuff, is Chrono Trigger, which was also an inspiration for Room of Swords as well, because the whole people from throughout time uniting to achieve common goal and stuff like that. That was pretty that's a pretty big theme in Room of Swords. So yeah.
So how did you guys get into the art and the comics and the video games? So like how did that kind of work for you guys?
Let's see. I think for me, like I started drawing when I was really, really little and just kind of like got a lot of positive feedback for it. So it kind of just started as like, you know, people thought I was good and I wanted to please people or something, I guess. I'm kind of a people pleaser. But then I think, I always had like this idea like, oh, well, I'm not going to grow up and be an artist because then that means I have to like paint pictures and put stuff in galleries. But then sometime around like middle school, I realized that all the video games and movies and anime that I was watching was actually like made by someone. So I was like, oh, this must be a job. And then I started pursuing it more seriously. So, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm right there with you. Like I really liked anime and animation growing up, and then I don't know, like it's something clicked for me. And I was like, oh, voice acting. That's a thing. There's actually somebody on the other side of that making the noises come out. So, yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, growing up, it was just like, oh, this is a thing. And then it just clicks. You're like, oh, I can do something like this.
Totally. Yeah, that's awesome.
And what about you, Julian?
Also kind of very similar. I mean, I have also like I have been drawing a lot for like since I can remember, and little by little I started getting into like communities. I started out in Newgrounds doing animations.
Good old Newgrounds.
So I started out there like showing when it comes to like social media, and then I went to continue posting now like stuff in Instagram and Tumblr and. I saw people liking the art style, started to develop it, and little by little started to now create characters and add like story, and and that's how I ended up doing webcomics.
Nice. So
I mean, and we both have like full time. Well, not me, not right now, but we come from a video game industry, so like we have been working on different kind of companies. Mm-hmm. So that also just made us continue pursuing other kind of art.
Nice. Mm-hmm. So what brought about Room of Swords?
Well, I think, we've always kind of known like we wanted to have like our own kind of project. And originally we were thinking like, let's make a game together, but it kind of ended up being something that was really difficult to juggle while at the same time as having a full-time job. So we ended up kind of like going down that road for a little while, but then we're like, well, you know what we actually really like doing is just writing the story, and we could do that ourselves. And I had been reading actually Homestuck, which I did not mention before as an inspiration, but it was also a big one because that was a pretty big webcomic while it was running, and it had animation and stuff in it. And I was like, Julian, you're an animator, and we're both artists, and it seemed like we were both like also able to work pretty quickly because after school, like having a really rigorous schedule, it's you kind of have to learn how to move fast. Mm-hmm. So we were like, yeah, like I think the secret to maybe doing a little better as a webcomic is having consistency and like fast enough updates to keep people kind of enticed and fed and everything, right? Fed and watered. So so that was it seemed like kind of a natural next step. And we started thinking like about a year before Room of Swords launched, like what would the story be about? And we sort of like kept thinking of all these like different situations for characters and stuff, but we couldn't quite like decide which one we wanted to pursue. And then we're like, basically, so there's also this album that we listen to called Arian Into the Electric Castle. And that kind of has this storyline where people are just sort of abducted out of time and they're supposed to go to the electric castle. Mm-hmm. And we were like, yeah, that's kind of cool. And we were watching Twilight Zone at the same time as well. And there's this one episode, it's like 5 characters in search of an exit. And it's just like people who are like, there's like a clown and a ballerina and a soldier and stuff. And they're just kind of like, stuck here, like, where am I? And then Lost is sort of a situation like that. Just like we kind of like the idea of like all these random people getting thrown together, and we like time travel and all that stuff. So we were like, why don't we kind of go that route? Like we've been thinking of all these different characters. We could put them into this one story together and have it be sort of like this mystery kind of like action, anime, sci-fi fighting sort of story.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you made the Lost reference. I try to this day. I still try and make Lost references, and nobody has seen Lost because it's all a bunch of kids now. They don't know what Lost is, and it hurts me inside. Because like that was a phenomenon.
I know. Yeah, it was like, it just, the thing that we really love about that is like, it's just so intriguing, and there's always like some next mystery, and every time you get a question answered, there's a new one, and it's never what you expected. The only downfall, I think, is like in the end, it felt not very satisfying because a lot of questions weren't answered. So that's kind of where we hope that we can do a little better.
So, spoiler, a bit of a spoiler. Are we going to get a hatch in season 2 of Room of Swords?
Maybe
Sweet.
there'll be
Okay.
kind of hatch. Yeah.
The hatch is kind of basically the Room of Swords, because the whole first season they're looking for the Room of Swords, and it's just you just keep hearing about it, and they all want to get in there, but how it ends, and I mean, spoiler alert, is they finally reach the Room of Swords. So, like, it's kind of like the Lost with a hatch thing going on there.
Yeah, I guess so.
And from here on out, we're going to do spoilers for season 1 of Room of Swords. So if you haven't read season 1 of Room of Swords yet, first off, why? Go read it right now. Just stop what you're doing. Pause this. We'll wait. Go read all of Room of Swords, and then you can come back. So let's kind of delve a little bit into Room of Swords. So first off, can you tell us a little bit about each character?
Sure. So the main character is Gyrus, who is an astronaut.
Gyrus. Okay, see, I was going with Gyrus, and I was like, doesn't sound right in my head, but I like Gyrus. It makes more sense.
Cool. Yeah, I guess so. This will be like pronunciations for everybody.
Yeah, and Gyrus is actually it is a word, and it means like it's the ridges or folds in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can actually just check it in Google.
Yeah, Google will tell you that one. Google knows. But yeah, and actually his name was based on a video game that's also called Gyrus. And there's like a little bit of homage to that, I guess, in the comic too, in the final chapter. But if we don't talk about it, then it'll be an Easter egg that someone can find. But yeah, so his name's Gyrus. His last name's Axelay, so we'll just do the whole names, I guess. He's an astronaut, and he's a little bit like, he's supposed to be basically the character that we all would be, right, if we ended up in this situation. So he finds himself in a world full of like monsters and danger, and he's alone, and like mysterious, weird, crazy stuff is happening, and he's just kind of like, what the heck, like I don't want to be here, I'm not a fighter. And stuff. And so he's a little bit lame, I guess, to start off, but like wouldn't we all kind of be in that situation? And then his comrades are basically people who come from a rougher walk of life, I guess. So Tori is the first person he meets, Tori Grieve, and she is a knight. So obviously she does have some combat experience. Mm-hmm. She's doesn't take crap from no one kind of attitude. And she's very independent, but she kind of ends up seeing that Gyrus is, he's not as lame as he first appears to be, and he is helpful and has good intentions and everything, so she comes to respect him more. And then there's Sylvia, who is a cave girl, and she's actually, originally she didn't have a name, and she introduced herself in emojis because that's how she speaks. It's just sort of like a representation of like how would like maybe grunts and gestures come across. And she introduces herself as actually the name that Geno introduces himself in Mario RPG. And then we let the fans choose a name for her, and they chose Sylvia. And that was like the top comment. So we went with that. and just kind of had it explained the same way as Jenna, which was like, oh, that's probably hard to pronounce, so let's go with Sylvia kind of thing.
By the way, I love the fact that she speaks in emojis.
Oh, thank you.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah, that was Julian's idea. So like at first we were gonna have her just like draw everything, but then he was like, why don't we just have her do emojis? Like that's kind of cool. So yeah, I thought that ended up being a pretty cool idea. But yeah, and then so there's Kodia Karavik. He is a Russian guy, and he's a little bit more mysterious because he's been there longer than everyone else, so it's kind of hard to tell like where, when is he from, what was his walk of life before he got here, but that's going to be revealed in season 2. So yeah, but he's from the Room of Swords, as he tells Gyrus and Tori and Sylvia, and he's actually been looking for Gyrus this whole time, because apparently Gyrus has gone missing after some strange incident in the Room of Swords where a lot of people went missing and they lost swords. And then towards the end of the season, we realized that Gyrus was responsible for that, but they kind of need him back because he's able to fight shadow monsters. And then along the way, they run into Nephthys, who is an Egyptian priestess who has healing powers, and she heals by affectionate gestures. So kissing is her most powerful healing technique, but she can also do things like group hug and blowing a kiss and stuff like that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love like with the first time just like she just straight up goes up and starts kissing people, and you're like, oh, okay, hi, this is how we're going here. I like it.
Yeah.
We also have because I mean with Jairus we have a he also has Scout.
Yes.
His
yeah.
his little star. Now, is Scout still okay? Because I mean, because we have this whole plot where Kodia gets him and Gyrus, and Gyrus. I've got Gyrus stuck in my head.
It's cool. Yeah.
So yeah, Kodia and Gyrus go, and Kodia basically takes Gyrus under his wing and like is teaching him all these ways of basically surviving the Room of Swords. There's basically, as long as he's got the sword, he's got as long as he is killed by the sword, he gets this respawn.
Yes.
So they go through this whole entire like respawn type of Groundhog Day type thing where see, I'm going Gyrus again. Gyrus is learning how to, basically almost like hone his skills.
Yeah.
But is Scout okay? Because I mean, we have Tori, she breaks Scout like towards the beginning, but then like she doesn't break Scout because the timelines change. So is Scout still around?
He is, yeah. So he's got a small part. Like he comes back pretty briefly. It doesn't do like a ton of stuff after the first voyage or voyage 34 when Tori kills him. But he'll be around a little bit more. He's basically the way Scout works is like he's an item basically. So if Gyrus doesn't have him equipped, he will just be reset. But like he'll be reset if Gyrus is. However, if Gyrus has him like in his inventory when he saves his progress with the boss sword, then Scout will retain all of his memories and stuff. So basically, I guess in Voyage 34, like Gyrus had lost Scout in the battle against 1 and 2, and when Kodia killed him, Scout was resurrected basically without the damage from Tori. And then since then, Gyrus has just been keeping Scout in his inventory every time he resets. So it's basically like an item that Gyrus owns.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So is Scout learning everything? Well, I mean, we won't go spoilers for season 2, so maybe we'll keep that kind of secret. So, what has been some of your favorite moments in the comic to draw, and we've kind of glossed over the fact that you guys do a lot of animated sequences in this comic.
Oh yeah.
And like to me that was one of those like reading it on Webtoon, I had no idea that was even a thing. And then when I started reading it, it's like you start seeing these animated bits and you're like, wait, what the heck just happened? I'm so confused, but it's really, really cool. So I love the fact that you guys started doing that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was like again, like we kind of got that idea from Homestuck because they had a lot of animation in that comic, but we were like, let's kind of just do GIFs, and that was one of the reasons why we first reached out to Webtoon because we thought that they could support them because I think they had Behind the GIF. That was the comic that we realized like supported animation. So it turns out it's only a feature for featured creators, and thankfully they were on board to feature us. So we were super thankful for that. But yeah, it's pretty fun. I feel like it's kind of a nice differentiator a lot of times, but it was certainly a learning process because we were the first ones to use GIFs so heavily. And at first, like the Webtoon Android app didn't support them very well. So we had to like take them down for a couple weeks after launch until it was fixed. And there's just sort of like certain things too. Like at first we were using GIFs a lot, like every frame almost. And then people were commenting like, hey, it's kind of hard to read this when like everything is moving. So we started using them more selectively and just to kind of like really punch up certain moments and stuff. So yeah, GIFs, animation have been a learning process, but they are super fun, which I realized wasn't like your actual question, but just to speak to GIFs.
Oh, I mean, hey, I'm totally like if you've ever listened to this show, we tangent a lot. That's
all right, cool.
half of what this show is just going off on a tangent. So going back to that first question. So, what has been one of your favorite scenes to draw and create?
Right. Well, I guess I will say, first of all, that our process is basically like we write the high-level story together, and then I write the chapters and storyboards. So mostly what I'm making are storyboards, and I think some of the most fun scenes have actually been the Nephthys kiss scene, for one. And let me see. I think also the episode where, spoilers, don't listen if you haven't read it, but where Kodia dies, that one was
yeah,
pretty fun too, in a sad way, but like, yeah, it was a fun challenge to sort of like get the sad story moments in there. And then, I don't know, Julian could probably speak to what his favorites are.
I would say the heavy animation scenes were very fun to do. Like when Gyros makes the black hole animation, or when he completes the broken sword into like the dark flames of shadows animation, or when he waves the sword against them, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, sorry, our baby's being loud. But yeah, he started working on those animations like months in advance. Like we were thinking about what the season finale was going to be, and Julian just kind of like when we wrapped up like inking a comic and I was working on dialogue or something, he just was spending all his time making all these really cool animations for the season finale. So I imagine he probably liked that one best.
I mean, I really like the first time that we see like the shadow monsters.
Oh yeah,
and they're all like twitchy and like wigging out. Like that was really, really cool. And then like that's probably one of my favorite bits of the animation, just because like it's the first time and you're just like, oh snap, this is a big bad.
Yeah.
And then when like Kyodia stabs Gyrus the first time, like to kill him, to like start the reset, and it's just like, what the heck just happened? I liked him, and then the comments came too, and that was a whole big thing.
Yeah, I know. We were, that was like kind of funny behind the scenes, right? Because we were like, oh man, like you guys are all saying you really want Kodia to die. I'm going to screenshot all of this for later. So
I love that when you did that Q&A, and then it's just like, oh, look, here's all the screenshots where you want Kodia to die, and then he dies, and it's like, oh, bring him back, bring it. I love that. Comments are the best.
They are, yeah.
Kind of speaking of comments, like what have been some of your favorite interactions with comments and with fans?
Oh my
and it's
God.
okay to say this show. I mean, just saying.
Yeah. Well, this show obviously.
Oh, thank you so much.
Highlight. So yes. Yep. Yeah, no, I think just I don't know if I can pick a favorite, but we do really enjoy interacting with our fans, and we do read all of the comments as well. But I think so far the only ones we've ever replied to are like people saying like, "Oh, we met you at the comic convention," and stuff like that. And then we were like, "Oh, hey, it was really nice to see you too." But generally, we kind of just like read and stay back. And I think maybe something that is not like a direct interaction that we appreciate, but that I think I'm just kind of thankful for, I suppose, is like I notice a lot of other creators kind of say that their comment section can be a bit mean. And I feel like our comment section is always pretty positive and funny, and we really appreciate that. And then, of course, we've got like an official Discord channel as well. That's at the end. The link is at the end of some of the chapters. And it's a really great community, I think, of people who are like very, just collaborative and funny and understanding of each other. And they're doing some pretty like awesome alternate universe kind of ideas during the hiatus. So it's really fun. We like our fans are pretty great.
Have you guys thought about where you want to go with Room of Swords? Like, how far do you want to take the series?
Like in terms of length, or
yeah, like kind of like length.
Yeah, I think like the way that
70
it's
episodes. That's it, guys.
Right.
We got 70 chapters, and then we're done.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be a lot of stuff to fit in. Yeah, I don't know if we have like the episode breakdown at this point, but season 2 is probably going to be the same length, if not much longer than season 1. And then sort of what we have like written down at a high level, it seems like there's probably going to be about 5 seasons of Room of Swords right now. So unless something drastically changes, I think the main thing is like we've kind of got, we kind of tried to structure it so that there'd be a way to like end it satisfactorily if we had to early, and then also that we could kind of like do the longer version if it was doing well, right? Because obviously it's a lot of work, and if it wasn't doing very well, then it'd be hard to continue. But hopefully, so far it's so good, and we hope to be able to do the long aspirational version.
Nice. So what are your goals for the comic?
I think I don't know if this is what you mean specifically, but I think
I know it's a very vague question.
Yeah. Just any goal at all. I will choose the one where we think it'd be cool if it became like a game or a show even. That would be pretty cool. But it's not something that we're like actively pursuing right now, aside from just trying to like get a really solid story together so that anyone who would be interested in doing something like that would have material to go off of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just, having been like big fans of like anime and animation and games for so long, it would be pretty freaking epic if Room of Swords became one of those things.
If you were to okay, so we're gonna have some fun now. So I'm gonna give you an unlimited budget. You can make either a video game or an animated series. Which one do you want to go with?
Oh, I think I would do a video game.
I think this story would be an excellent video game.
Awesome.
It's basically a video game right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that whole mechanic would fit right in, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh man. Yeah. Okay, so let's kind of now we're gonna do some fun stuff.
Cool.
Let's fan cast I guess not really fan cast since you created the thing. Let's cast Room of Swords. So who would you want to be each character?
Oh my gosh.
Again, unlimited budget. Yeah, I'll let you do unlimited budget. Go with anybody you want to.
Okay, man. I've like tried to think of this so many times. I don't know if I'm really good at coming up with actors, but I will say that like Jairus was like one of his inspirations was Glenn from The Walking Dead. So maybe Steven Yeun would be.
That would be so cool.
I know, right?
And he does a lot of animated stuff now, so.
Oh, right. That would be cool. I don't know though. I mean, Cody would definitely need like a Russian accent. So.
Someone who can do Russian.
Someone who can do Russian accents. Tori would be like English. It'd be really cool if like, who? Oh man, there's a lot of good English ones. Like if it's just voice actors.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, just voice actors.
Okay, maybe like Emma Watson would be pretty cool.
That would be, if you could get Emma Watson, that would be straight up gangster right there. It's like, oh, by the way, we also have Emma Watson as Tori.
Yes, totally. And then I think, well, so Nephthys then too, she's like was really inspired by Tahani in The Good Place. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have not.
Oh man,
That's
yeah,
the one that like everybody cries for, right? That's the one that makes everybody cry. Because wait, that's not The Good Place. Never mind.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, The Good Place is like it's a comedy with Kristen Stewart and it's by why am I blanking? By Michael Schur, right? He was one of the producers or writers on The Office. But it's basically like these people. It's kind of actually it's a similar setup to Room of Swords, which is why we started watching it actually. But it's like all these people are in the good place together, and like this one girl shows up who's played by Kristen Stewart, who is she's sorry, I'm like trying to make sure like I'm saying the right name. I'm really bad with names, so spoiler alert. But anyways,
Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell,
yeah,
yes,
that's like Kristen Stewart. I'm like, all right. I mean, I guess.
Thank you. Yeah. Sorry, I'm really bad with names. Yeah, but anyway, her character shows up and she's like actually a terrible person. So she's like in the good place mistakenly, right? And she has to pretend that she's not so that she doesn't go to hell, basically. But it turns out it's like all this big experiment kind of thing. It's like, yeah, I don't want to spoil it because you should definitely watch it. It's a really good show. But there's this one character in it named Tahani. And yeah, just like in terms of personality and like being like this beautiful, like tall woman who's like super like nice, but kind of I don't know, like snarky in a way sometimes. I don't know, just like her attitude is great. And we like how she just always talks really politely no matter what she's saying. So she would be pretty awesome as Nephthys too, I feel like.
Nice. So
yeah.
who would we get for, so who do we get for Sylvia? We just need someone, or does Sylvia just not talk and only communicates in emojis?
Right, yeah. It's just like one of the other actors also voices Sylvia.
We can make that happen.
Right, yeah.
Oh, you could get like Cortana or something. Get Jennifer Hale.
Yes, that's great. Sure, let's do that.
We'll make that happen.
Okay, perfect.
All right, so we're gonna do a game. So what type of game are we gonna do?
I think it would have to be some kind of like JRPG.
Okay, sweet. I was hoping you were gonna say like JRPG.
Awesome, yeah. That would be good with some platforming elements, you know. So.
So you're just gonna make it as like Final Fantasy?
Yeah, pretty much. Let's make it like one of these modern JRPGs.
But do we keep the 2D aspect still?
Yeah, sure. Why not? It'd be cool, right? If you could do it the whole thing in like sprite.
If you could somehow make it 2D, but like make it on like that scale of like a newer JRPG.
Yes,
that would be interesting.
Agreed. Let's do that with our unlimited budget.
With our unlimited budget, exactly. Dear all of our wonderful rich friends out there, please, we need an unlimited budget to make this game happen.
Yes, please. That would be great.
That would be amazing. So can you tell us a little bit about, without giving too many spoilers, can you kind of give us a little bit of a heads up of what we could be looking forward to in season 2?
Oh yeah, let me see if I can think of a way to abbreviate it in a non-spoilery way.
Everyone dies. There you go. That's season 2.
Well, yeah. Well, I didn't want to say anything, but some people probably die. And yeah, I think. Gosh, let's see. So, well, season 1 ends right. Like Jairus has just showed that he's got some kind of link with the shadow monsters and can even turn into like half of one. And Kodia, his mind has been absorbed along with the shadow into Jairus's black box, and then everyone got into the Room of Swords out of that realm. So basically, season 2 is mostly going to focus on everyone now being in the Room of Swords. So season 1 was really about this one realm, right? Where it's like, it kind of felt like that was the whole world. But in season 2, it's going to be more about like the Room of Swords, which you saw in the last chapter.
End,
yeah, it's kind of like, it's like a portal, or sort of a hub world, I guess you could say, with portals to a lot of different realms. So it's going to be kind of like a more global stage, I guess you could say. And it's going to be kind of like Gyrus sort of trying to figure out like how he fits into this world now, where like people are fairly suspicious of him and his motivations and how he's going to turn out to be. And it's going to be kind of like one of those, will he or won't he cause the apocalypse? Can we keep him under control and like have him do good or not? And then Gyrus kind of trying to piece together like, who was he, using the black box to kind of find his memories again, and see if there's a way that he can save Kodia, bring him back, or reunite, I guess, his mind and his body. So yeah.
And like the way that you guys like you guys played with the timeline, especially in those last couple chapters, so well that I didn't know what the heck was going on. Like we meet like weird future Gyrus, who's like half shadow monster, who helps Kodia, like it's like helps defeat you, and like we have this whole bit, and then Gyrus goes through. And he now is in the Room of Swords, and this is when he meets Dawn. So it's like, this is like the first time that we meet Dawn, but our Gyrus knows all about Captain Dawn. So it's one of those where it's like, you've done a really good job of weaving this story to where I have no idea what the heck is going on, and I am very ready for season 2.
Awesome,
I need my answers.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught it or not, but there's like, well, we actually, so we put this in because we were like, trying to sort of like do this thing where we put in Dawn and Gyrus at the end and like leave some little clues and see if people would kind of piece together like what's going on there. And then we ended up adding a frame too that says 11 years ago. So yeah, so it's just kind of like, I think a few people though still were kind of like, wait, like where is everyone else? And it's like, well, they're in the present day. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So like that's what I'm like, did he go back in time? So it's it's so out there for me. That's why I'm like, wait, so did he go back in time, or is this actually 11 years ago? Did he just time travel 11 years in the past?
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
you will find out in season 2.
Any characters that you are excited to announce in season 2? Like is there anybody that you're like really looking forward to having all of us read for the first time?
Yes, there's like quite a few actually, and I think so. We put on our YouTube channel like a character bio video for fun that had a couple of the new ones in there. But yeah, there's like a whole cast of like 5 people who are in the Room of Swords that are going to be main players in the new season, and then another character too that will show up at some point. And we're pretty, not to give, we won't give spoilers, but it was, but we're pretty excited about all of them. They have some pretty cool powers, and I think we'll add an interesting like dynamic with the other characters so far.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now the big question on everybody's mind, is 2 going to show back up?
Oh, right.
Because you can't seem to kill her. I mean, she just keeps coming back.
Yes. Well, I don't know if we can answer that, but it might happen some way or another.
Oh man, Tara, Julian, thank you guys so much for coming on. This has been really fun. It is satiated my hunger for Room of Swords, and it came out today, correct?
Actually, sorry. Yeah, no, we're pushing it. So it's going to start on April 15th. We're going to come out with a recap chapter to sort of like, catch everyone up on all the things that you may have forgotten or missed if you didn't read season 1. So I guess if you haven't read it, check it out on April 15th Monday or Sunday, depending on your time zone. and you will get kind of like a quick like overview of how season 1 basically was, the main plot point. So if you want to start season 2 from there, that's certainly an option, but you might want to go back and read the whole thing if you want all the details. And we're starting to do Fast Pass as well. So it's a new feature that Webtoon has where it basically allows people to read ahead a few extra chapters if they want to. And it's totally optional. You can still get it for free every week like usual, but it's a nice feature because it obviously helps us out a lot. And right now, like, I'm working a full-time job and my husband's doing just this and watching our baby. And it's like, you know, it gets tough sometimes. So we're kind of hoping that this will be something that can kind of like help us dedicate more time to the comic over the next year. And that'll really make the quality of our life better. So, so Recap and Fast Pass will be available next week. And then the following week, the first chapter of season 2 is going to be available for everyone for free.
Excellent. Now, where can everybody find you guys social media-wise and find Room of Swords?
Yeah, so Room of Swords is on Webtoon, and you can download the app or read it on your browser, whether that's on your computer or your phone. And a fast way to get there is just to do www.roomofswords.com, or without the www, whatever. And that'll just link you right into Webtoon and the chapter list. And our social media is either Tonnimated or it is Room of Swords. So you can find us on Tumblr, Twitter, and Instagram on either of those handles.
Nice. Any Patreons?
We do have Patreon too. Yeah, it's also Tonnimated. Patreon.com/Tonnimated.
Nice. And we'll put all of those links and everything in the show notes. So all you have to do is pop those show notes, click on the link. We'll have the one that'll take you straight to all of their social media, one that'll take you to the comic, everything like that. So just click on that, and that's going to launch you everywhere that you need to go. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh L. Kane. You can find the podcast on Instagram at Animation Station Podcast and on Twitter at Animate Podcast. You can also find us on Facebook and Tumblr. I doubt we'll respond to you if you do anything on there, but we're there just because, so why not? You can also find all of our episodes, iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, Google Play, and on our website, animationstationpodcast.com. Again, thanks so much, guys, for coming on.
Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thanks
no problem. And we are ready for Room of Swords, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for this video game. I want this video game to come out now.
Me too.
Now I'm jonesing for a video game.
Let's make it happen.
All right. So for the Animation Station Podcast, I'm Josh. We're Tara Julian.
Yeah, we're Tara and Julian.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.